I compared him to my ex during an argument. He packed his bags the same night. I'm sitting at our kitchen island, staring at the empty spot where his coffee mug used to be every morning. It's been 3 weeks since Alex left. 3 weeks of waking up to cold sheets and silence instead of his gentle snoring and morning kisses. 3 weeks since I made the most catastrophic mistake of my life. You'll never be half the man Jordan was. The words replay in my head like a cruel echo, each time more painful than the last. I never meant it. Not really. But in that moment, angry and hurt, I reached for the sharpest weapon I could find. And now I'm paying the price. 6 months ago, I'm standing in our newly renovated kitchen, Alex's arms wrapped around my waist as I stir pasta sauce on the stove. You know what I love about this kitchen? He whispers against my hair. Watching you in it. I roll my eyes and playfully elbow him. Careful there, Mr. Progressive. That's dangerously close to woman belongs in the kitchen territory. That's not what I meant, he laughs, kissing my temple. I just love watching you in your element. You look happy here. At 32, I'd finally found a man who saw me, really saw me. Alex, 35, wasn't flashy or dramatic like my ex Jordan. He was steady, reliable, and kind in ways that used to seem boring to me, but had become my foundation. We'd been married for just over 2 years, and most days I felt like the luckiest woman alive. But there were moments, small, insidious moments, when I'd catch myself wondering if I'd settled. If the butterflies I used to feel with Jordan meant that was real love, and this comfortable, steady feeling with Alex was less somehow. Those thoughts always made me feel guilty. I'd brush them away quickly, focusing instead on the million ways Alex showed his love every day. Coffee made exactly how I liked it, waiting for me every morning, remembering to record my favorite shows, listening to my work drama without checking his phone. Earth to Emma, Alex waves his hand in front of my face, bringing me back to the present. Where'd you go just now? I'm leaning against the counter, wooden spoon forgotten in my hand. Nowhere important, I say, offering him a smile. Just thinking about how lucky I am. He kisses me softly. I'm the lucky one. I wish I could go back to that moment. I wish I could freeze it and live there forever. Last month, I'm standing in our bedroom, frantically searching through my closet. Alex, I call out, frustration edging my voice. Have you seen my black dress? The one with the low back? Alex appears in the doorway, toothbrush in hand. The one from Macy's or the one from that boutique downtown? The boutique one, I say, pushing aside hangers with increasing agitation. We're already running late for Melissa's party. I think it's still at the dry cleaners, he says carefully. You meant to pick it up yesterday, but then you got caught up with work, remember? I slam the closet door shut. Seriously? You couldn't have reminded me? I didn't know you were planning to wear it tonight. I'm glaring at him now, unreasonably annoyed. Great, so now I have nothing to wear to this stupid party. Alex sets his toothbrush down and walks to the closet, opening it again. What about this one? He pulls out a navy blue dress I'd forgotten about. That old thing? God, Alex, this is Melissa's engagement party, not a funeral. Something flickers across his face, hurt maybe, but he quickly masks it. I always thought you looked beautiful in this dress. I snatch it from him, irritation winning over reason. Whatever, we're already late. Looking back, I can see how dismissive I was becoming of Alex's feelings, his opinions, his efforts. Small criticisms that I'd toss out without thinking twice. A scoff when he'd suggest a movie. An eye roll when he'd tell a story I found boring. A comparison to how Jordan would have handled something, though I was usually careful not to mention my ex by name. That night at Melissa's engagement party, I'm standing by the bar on my third glass of champagne when Melissa's fiancé Jake starts telling a story about their trip to Italy. So there we are, lost in Venice, and Melissa just starts speaking to this old Italian man in broken Spanish and hand gestures. Jake laughs, his arm around Melissa. Somehow, she got us directions, and we made it to the restaurant right before our reservation expired. Everyone laughs, and I feel a twinge of something, jealousy, maybe. Jake looks at Melissa with such admiration, such pride. I look over at Alex, who's chatting with a colleague from his office. He catches my eye and smiles, raising his water glass slightly in my direction. You guys are such an adventurous couple, I say to Melissa and Jake. Alex would never get lost. He'd have 3 maps and a GPS backup. It comes out more dismissive than I intended, but the champagne has loosened my filter. Melissa smiles tightly. Being prepared isn't a bad thing, Em. I know, I wave my hand. It's just sometimes I miss the spontaneity, the excitement of not knowing what's coming next. Like with Jordan? Melissa asks quietly, her eyes serious. I'm taken aback. I didn't mention Jordan. You didn't have to, she says, taking a sip of her drink. Look, Emma, I love you, but you need to be careful. Alex is one of the good ones. I know that, I say defensively, suddenly feeling exposed. I love Alex. Do you show him that? Because from where I'm standing, it seems like you're always looking for what he's not, instead of appreciating what he is. Her words hit me like a bucket of cold water, but instead of absorbing them, I feel anger rise in my chest. You don't know what you're talking about, I mutter, setting my glass down harder than necessary. I need some air. 2 weeks ago, I'm standing in our living room, arms crossed, watching Alex load the dishwasher. That's not how you're supposed to load it, I say, my voice sharp. The bowls go on the top rack. Alex continues loading, his movements deliberate. They fit better down here. They'll crack that way, I insist. Jordan always. I stop myself, but it's too late. Alex's hands go still. Jordan always what? He asks quietly, not looking at me. I swallow hard. Nothing. Forget it. He closes the dishwasher slowly and turns to face me. No, Emma. Finish what you were going to say. I'm cornered now, defensive. I was just going to say Jordan always put the bowls on the top rack. It's not a big deal. It's never a big deal, is it? Alex says, his voice unnervingly calm. Just like it wasn't a big deal when you told your mother I don't dance as well as Jordan, or when you mentioned how Jordan always knew which wine to order at restaurants. I feel my face flush. Are you keeping score? Are you? He counters. We're both silent for a moment, the tension crackling between us. I don't want to fight about this, I finally say, turning away. You never do, Alex says quietly. You never want to talk about why you're constantly measuring me against him. I spin back around, anger flaring. That's ridiculous. I do not constantly measure you against Jordan. Emma, you brought him up 3 times yesterday. 3 times. His voice remains steady, but I can see the hurt in his eyes. Do you have any idea what that feels like? You're being oversensitive, I snap. And you're being cruel, he responds, the words landing like slaps. I laugh bitterly, the sound harsh even to my own ears. Cruel? You want to talk about cruel? Cruel is working 60 hours a week and coming home to criticism about loading a dishwasher. I don't care about the dishwasher, Alex says, running a hand through his hair in frustration. I care that you can't seem to let go of a relationship that ended 5 years ago. I care that you married me, but you're still holding on to him. That's not true, I protest, but my voice lacks conviction. Isn't it? Alex asks. Because from where I'm standing, it feels like I'm competing with a ghost. And I'm tired, Emma. I'm so damn tired. So what are you saying? I challenge, my heart racing. That you can't handle a little comparison? That you're insecure about my past? Alex looks at me for a long moment, his expression shifting from hurt to something more resolved. No, I'm saying I deserve better than being someone's silver medal. The words hit me like a physical blow, but instead of acknowledging their truth, I lash out. Maybe I settled for silver because gold wasn't available. The moment the words leave my mouth, I want to snatch them back. Alex's face goes completely blank, and I realize I've crossed a line I can never uncross. Alex, I didn't mean, you did, he says quietly. You absolutely meant it. I'm shaking my head, tears springing to my eyes. No, I was just angry. I don't think that, I swear. But Alex is already walking past me toward our bedroom. I follow him, panicking now as I watch him pull a duffel bag from the closet. What are you doing? I ask, my voice small. What I should have done months ago, he replies, not looking at me as he begins placing clothes in the bag. Alex, stop, I plead, grabbing his arm. Let's talk about this. I'm sorry, okay? I shouldn't have said that. He gently removes my hand. You're right, you shouldn't have. But you did, and you can't unsay it. It was just words, I cry. People say things they don't mean during fights all the time. Alex pauses, finally meeting my gaze. The thing is, Emma, I think you did mean it. Maybe not consciously, but somewhere deep down, that's how you feel. And I can't live with that anymore. I'm standing in the doorway, tears streaming down my face, watching as he methodically packs his essential items. Where will you go? To Matt's for now, he says, "Parano," zipping the bag closed. I'll come back for the rest of my things later this week. So that's it? I ask, anger returning through my panic. One fight and you're walking out on our marriage? Alex shoulders his bag and walks toward me. I think for a moment he might reach out, might touch my face or pull me close. Instead, he stops just short of me. This isn't about one fight, Emma, he says softly. This is about a pattern. This is about the fact that you've never fully committed to me, to us. And I can't keep pretending it doesn't break my heart every time you make it clear I'm not the one you really wanted. That's not true, I insist, but my protest sounds hollow even to my own ears. Alex simply shakes his head and moves past me. I follow him to the front door, desperate now. Please don't go, I beg. We can work on this. I'll do better, I promise. He turns at the door, his hand on the knob. I hope someday you find what you're looking for, Emma. I really do. But I don't think it's me. And I deserve to be with someone who thinks I'm enough. And then he's gone, the door closing quietly behind him. The day after Alex leaves, I'm sitting on my couch, phone in hand, typing and deleting message after message. I'm sorry seems woefully inadequate. I love you feels true but also selfish, like I'm trying to emotionally manipulate him into coming back. I finally settle on, I understand if you need space, but please know how truly sorry I am. What I said was cruel and untrue. You've never been second best. The message shows as delivered, but no response comes. Melissa calls later that day. I'm curled up in Alex's t-shirt, breathing in his fading scent when my phone buzzes. I heard what happened, she says without preamble. Alex is staying with Matt. He told you? I ask, my voice hoarse from crying. No, Matt did. Alex isn't talking much to anyone, she pauses. Emma, what the hell happened? I pull the blanket tighter around me. I messed up, Mel. I really messed up. Jordan again? She asks quietly. The question makes fresh tears spring to my eyes. I compared them, explicitly, to Alex's face. Melissa is silent for so long I think the call might have dropped. Finally, she sighs. Oh, Emma. I know, I whisper. I know it was unforgivable. Do you? She asks. Because this isn't the first time you've done this. Maybe not so directly, but you've been comparing them since you started dating Alex. That's not fair, I protest weakly. Isn't it? Remember your wedding day? Melissa continues, her voice gentle but firm. You had a panic attack in the dressing room because you weren't feeling the fireworks you expected. I close my eyes, the memory washing over me. I was just nervous. You were comparing your steady, mature love for Alex to the chaotic roller coaster you had with Jordan, Melissa says. Even then, you couldn't just be present in your relationship with Alex without Jordan's ghost hovering over everything. Her words strike a nerve because they're true. Even on my wedding day, a perfect day by all accounts, I'd spent precious moments wondering if the calm certainty I felt about Alex was enough, if it was as real as the wild passion I'd felt with Jordan. I do love him, Mel. I whisper, so much. I believe you, she says. But love isn't just a feeling, Emma. It's a choice. Every day it's a choice. And you've been choosing to keep one foot out the door, just in case. What do I do now? I ask, desperate for guidance. I don't know if there's anything you can do, she admits. Some things can't be unsaid. Some trust can't be rebuilt. After we hang up, I'm standing in our bedroom, looking at the half-empty closet. My phone buzzes with a text from Alex. I'll come by to get more of my things tomorrow at 2. Please don't be there. The request is like a knife to my heart. He doesn't even want to see me. I text back, I understand, I'll be out. Alex, I'm so sorry. 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again. Finally, I know. Not I forgive you, not we'll work through this, just I know. A week after Alex leaves, I'm standing in the grocery store staring blankly at the coffee selection. I automatically reach for the dark roast Alex likes, then pause, my hands suspended in midair. I don't even like dark roast. I've been buying it and drinking it for 2 years because it made Alex happy. I realize I'm crying in the middle of the coffee aisle when an elderly woman touches my arm gently. Are you all right, dear? I wipe my eyes hurriedly. Yes, sorry, just coffee decisions, very emotional. She smiles kindly, clearly not believing me but not pressing. Sometimes the smallest things hit us the hardest. As I drive home with my groceries, I think about all the little accommodations Alex made for me that I took for granted. How he'd watch reality TV shows he hated because I enjoyed them. How he learned to cook vegetarian meals when I decided to cut back on meat. How he'd wake up early on weekends to get fresh bagels from the bakery I loved across town. And what had I given in return? Criticism, comparison, the clear message that he wasn't enough. That night, I'm sitting on our bed, scrolling through photos on my phone. There we are in Cabo, Alex's arms around me as we watch the sunset. There's Alex teaching my nephew how to fly a kite. There we are, paint splattered and exhausted after finishing our living room renovation. In every photo, Alex is looking at me with such tenderness, such complete adoration. And in most of them, I'm looking somewhere else, at the camera, at the scenery, at other people. How had I not noticed? I stop at a photo from Melissa's engagement party. Alex is mid-laugh, his head thrown back, joy radiating from him. I took the photo because he looked so handsome, so alive in that moment. And now I wonder, when was the last time I made him laugh like that? 2 weeks after Alex leaves, I'm standing in his favorite coffee shop when I see him through the window. He's sitting at a table with a colleague from work, their heads bent over some documents. He looks good. His hair is freshly cut, his clothes crisp. He's smiling at something his colleague is saying. I duck behind a display before he can see me, my heart pounding. I want desperately to go to him, to sit across from him and beg for another chance. But the restraint in his text messages, the careful distance he's maintained, tells me he's not ready for that. He might never be. So instead, I leave the coffee shop without my order, tears blurring my vision as I hurry to my car. That afternoon, I receive an email from Alex. Formal, detached. Emma, I've spoken with a lawyer about starting divorce proceedings. I think it's best if we handle this as amicably as possible. I'll continue staying with Matt for now, but I'd like to set a time to come get the rest of my things. Please let me know when would be convenient for you to be out of the house. I read the email 10 times, each word a fresh wound. Divorce. Such a cold, final word. I always thought if we ever faced this moment, it would be dramatic. Screaming fights, ultimatums, a last desperate attempt to save things. Not this quiet, resolved severance. I reply, my fingers trembling on the keyboard. Whatever you think is best. I'll be out all day Saturday if that works for you. Then I add, I am truly sorry, Alex. Not just for what I said, but for how I made you feel for so long. His response comes hours later. Thank you for understanding. Saturday works. That's it. No acknowledgement of my apology. No opening for further conversation. I call my sister that night, sobbing so hard she can barely understand me. He's filing for divorce, I choke out. He's really leaving me. Oh, Emmy, she says softly. I'm so sorry. The worst part, I tell her, is that I understand why. I wouldn't stay with me either. Don't say that, she tries to comfort me. It's true, though, I insist. I spent 2 years making him feel like he wasn't enough, like he was my consolation prize after Jordan. But he wasn't, Kate. He was the best thing that ever happened to me, and I was too stupid, too caught up in some fantasy about what love should look like to see it. Have you told him that? She asks. I've tried. He doesn't want to hear it. I wipe my eyes. And why should he believe me now? I had 2 years to show him he was my first choice, and instead I showed him the opposite. 3 weeks after Alex leaves, today, I'm standing in our empty living room. He came yesterday to get the last of his things. I kept my promise to be out of the house, unable to bear watching him systematically remove himself from our shared life. But he left something behind. On the kitchen counter, a small wooden box I'd bought him for our first anniversary. Inside, his wedding ring and a note. I meant every word of my vows. I hope someday you find someone who makes you feel the way you deserve to feel with me. I slide down against the kitchen cabinets, clutching the note to my chest, ugly sobs tearing through me. Because in this moment, I finally understand the full magnitude of what I've lost. Not just Alex, but the future we'd planned. The children we'd talked about having. The house in the suburbs we'd been saving for. All gone because I couldn't appreciate what was right in front of me. My phone buzzes with a text from Melissa. Checking in. How are you holding up? I can't bring myself to respond. How am I holding up? I'm not. I'm completely falling apart. Later that evening, scrolling mindlessly through social media, I see that Alex has changed his relationship status to single. It's the final nail in the coffin of our marriage. I close the app and pour myself another glass of wine, wondering if the hollowness in my chest will ever fade. The doorbell rings, startling me. For a wild moment, I think it might be Alex coming home to me. I rush to the door, hope blooming painfully in my chest. But it's just Melissa, holding a bag of takeout and looking at me with concern. "You weren't answering your phone," she says, stepping inside. I got worried. I follow her to the kitchen, watching as she unpacks containers of Thai food, my favorite, not Alex's. He always preferred Italian. "I saw Alex yesterday," she says carefully, pushing a carton of pad thai toward me. "At the gym." My heart skips. "How is he?" Melissa hesitates. "He seems okay. He's joined some rock climbing group. Said it's something he always wanted to try." Rock climbing. Something Jordan used to do, something I'd mentioned to Alex once or twice. The irony is bitter on my tongue. "He's moving on," I say flatly. "He's trying to," Melissa corrects gently. "Just like you should be." I laugh humorlessly. "Move on to what? I had everything I ever needed, and I threw it away." "Emma," Melissa sets down her fork, "you made a terrible mistake. You hurt someone you love deeply, but torturing yourself won't change anything." "What will?" I ask, voice breaking. "What will change things? Because I would do anything, Mel, anything to go back and undo what I did." "You can't go back," she says simply. "You can only go forward. Learn from this, grow from this." "Into what?" I ask bitterly. A cautionary tale? The woman who compared her husband to her ex and lost everything? Melissa reaches across the table to take my hand. Into someone who understands what love really is. Not the fireworks and drama, but the choice to see someone fully and cherish them anyway. Into someone who might someday be ready to love again, properly this time. I want to believe her. I want to imagine a future where this crushing guilt and regret don't define me. But sitting in this empty house, surrounded by the ghosts of my marriage, it's impossible to see beyond my loss. "He was the best person I've ever known," I whisper, "and I made him feel like he wasn't enough." Melissa squeezes my hand. "I know, and that's something you'll have to live with. But you're still here, Emma. Your story isn't over yet." After Melissa leaves, I'm standing at the window, watching the sun set over the neighborhood Alex and I chose together. In the fading light, I can see families returning home, couples walking dogs, life continuing all around me, despite the fact that mine feels permanently paused. I think about Jordan for the first time in weeks. The relationship I'd placed on such a pedestal, the standard against which I'd unfairly measured Alex. With distance and pain has come clarity. What Jordan and I had wasn't deeper or more real. It was just louder, more volatile, more like the movies. But it was Alex who held me through my father's illness. Alex who celebrated every small victory with me. Alex who loved me steadily, consistently, without games or drama. And I'd treated that precious gift as if it were somehow less than, as if his quiet, unwavering love was boring compared to the roller coaster I'd experienced before. I take out my phone and type one last message to Alex. "I won't contact you again after this. I just need you to know that you were never second best. You were the best man I've ever known, and I was too blind to see it. I'm sorry I made you doubt your worth. You deserved so much better than what I gave you." I press send before I can second guess myself, then delete his contact information from my phone. A small, symbolic act of letting go. Tomorrow, I'll start packing up this house. I can't stay here, surrounded by memories of the life we built and the life I destroyed. Maybe a fresh start somewhere else will give me the space to become someone better, someone who knows how to truly value love when she finds it. The truth settles over me like a heavy blanket. Some mistakes can't be undone. Some words can't be unsaid. Some bridges, once burned, can never be rebuilt. I compared him to my ex during an argument. He packed his bags the same night, and nothing will ever be the same again.